Today we're going to talk about probably the most used indicator forever in trading. But the biggest thing I want to talk about is the evolution of the markets and the new way to apply this age-old indicator. Hey everyone, lead trainer with StocksToTrade, Tim Bohen here. Be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and if you're on YouTube, ring that bell. I want you to be notified as soon as we drop a new video. We're doing so much stuff. You know, Matt and Bryce and Kyle and Jack are doing the twist. Bryce is doing the This Week in Steady Trade, where he's dropping topical episodes based on what's happening that day. I'm going live every single trading day at 8:30 Eastern on the pre-market prep. So super proud of what we do on the StocksToTrade channel, and I want you to be notified that way, you know, on your phone, on your desktop, whatever, you know, as soon as they drop, because man, there's so much going on right now. The more information you absorb, the more you take advantage of this channel, the higher the potential for you to learn this stuff and succeed. All right, that being said, today we're going to talk about the second most valuable indicator ever, and how to apply that in these new markets we're in, okay? And what I'm going to talk about is volume. You know, we always talk about, there's a lot of analogies, you know, when it comes to price action, you'll always hear me, whether it be me, Tim Sykes, Tim Grittani, any trader out there will always say only price pays. You know, price action is number one, okay? Your candlestick patterns that you're looking at the screen, you know, that price, is the price steadily uptrending or steadily downtrending? But then so close in second place is volume. And when I talk about volume, it's shares traded on the day. And that is an indicator that you have to get familiar with, and you have to know what to screen for and what to look for. I can't remember if I made up this analogy or maybe I borrowed it somewhere, but to me, price and volume are dance partners, okay? And you can't have a dance, you know, a partner dance without two partners. And you can't have a trade, a good setup without price and volume. Because if you're buying a stock that's steadily uptrending with no volume, you're going to get terrible fills. You're not going to be able to exit. If you're shorting a stock that's going down on low volume, it's probably going to spike against you. You can't get out. You got to trade liquid stocks. And the more volume you have, the better the potential for that setup to succeed. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to talk about long setups, but really everything that I say applies to the short side. You're just flipping that chart upside down, and you want that same excessive volume, same tons of buyers, just like I'm going to talk about, or I'm sorry, tons of sellers, just like I'm going to talk about tons of buyers. So why do we care about volume, and then I'm going to give you some tips on what to screen for and how to adjust to these wild markets in 2021. So the biggest thing we're looking at is, you know, and I think so it's interesting to me how many people overlook this, that it's the stock market. It is a market. And what are markets based on? I don't care if it's apples, oranges, anything, you know, anything that's in the hot demand, concert tickets, whatever it is, the more the demand, the more the potential for the price to uptick. I mean, if everyone wants a ticket to the latest concert, and there's 50,000 seats, so there's a limited supply, which we focus on these low float stocks, that's your supply. But if the demand is through the roof, if 100,000 people or 200,000 people want to go to the concert, at the end of the day, they can only put 50,000 people in the stadium. What's going to happen to the price? It's not going to sell for that $50 face value. It's going to sell for 500 or 5,000 or whatever that price someone is willing to pay. And the more buyers you have, the more volume you have, the more likely you're going to have someone that is just going to hammer the ask, and they'll pay any price. That's why you never use market orders, by the way. Never, ever use market orders, because that's the FOMO crew, the people that can't get in fast enough, that buy with a market order, get a terrible fill. We've got a bunch of videos about order types. Check that out. So that's why we care about volume so much, is simply the more buyers there are, the more the potential for that VWAP-hold or that dip and rip or those 52-week breakouts, all the chart patterns I talk about every day in the Steady Trade team, the more the potential that trade will succeed. You got to have a stop. You got to stick to it. More buyers, better potential for that move to the upside, okay? So always, 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 one of the biggest things you'll see me do anytime I'm live, anytime I'm looking for the next trade, right now, and really forever, you want to sort every scan by volume. I don't care if you're trading OTCs. I don't care if you're trading Nasdaqs. I don't care if you're trading boring NYSE stocks. You're always looking for the most liquid volume, biggest volume stock. You can see Zynga is the top of my swing trade scan right now. And, listen, cool thing about Zynga, earnings winner last night. You can see it gapped up on earnings, then ground sideways, bounced off of VWAP, and is now pushing in the afternoon. You guys know that setup, I hope. And it's an earnings winner. And the great thing, they had a competitor the other day, GLUU, which is in the same online gaming sector, got bought out for a 40% premium. Love Zynga. I'd be curious. Drop me a comment. What's the price of Zynga at the point you're watching this video? Because you might see this a week or a month later. Zynga's been a steadily uptrending stock. Love this as an earnings winner. Probably continues to gap up. So anyway, that being said, that would be the top swing trade stock I'd be looking at, simply because you can see it's trading 42 million shares. The next stock, 16 million, 14 million, 13 million. Most liquid stock, most buyers, earnings winner, hot sector. Great potential for a swing trade. Then the next stock I want to talk about, and this is really interesting about the market we're in, and you can see I'm looking at Oracle right here. Oracle is our stock prediction algorithm as well as one-click watch list builder. So great thing about Oracle, it's built into StocksToTrade. If you have StocksToTrade, just hit your Oracle button. If you've never used it, you can click the link below, get the trial of the StocksToTrade. You have the fully functioning version of the software, fully functioning Oracle. You can check it out. Then what I do when I'm trading with Oracle is, again, everything, especially right now with volume through the roof. I'm sorting by volume. And you can see CTRM has traded 476 million shares. You can see I'm recording at roughly 1:45 Eastern. Just so wild. And this is that evolution of the markets that we've talked about. It just, back in the day, you can see the gray in the beard. I started actively day trading in 2007. We used to lose our minds if like a small, low price, $1.50 stock like CTRM, if it was trading 5 million shares at this time of day, we would be like, whoa, look at how liquid this stock is. 50 million would have been off the charts. Everyone would have lost their minds. Here we are trading 500 million. And then you can see NAKD, another stock slightly behind it at 400 million. And then 170 million for ZOM. Yes, I tell you, the best part of ZOM, this may be the greatest part of 2021. If you're familiar with ZOM, this is the Carol Baskin pump from a couple months ago. Carol Baskin from Tiger King was paid to promote this stock on Cameo for $300. The stock went from 25 cents to $1.50, and every short seller, and this is talking about the evolution of the markets as well, every short seller in the universe was mocking ZOM when it was at $1.50. Guess where we are 2 weeks later? We're at $3 a share, and it's trading, let me jump back to Oracle, and it's trading 170 million shares on the day, which just shows you the volume, the potential, the liquidity out there. And, you can listen to past episodes of the podcast or past of these videos, the videos where I talk about market sentiment. And it's just a new world, and it's incredible, and I expect it to continue forever, okay? So that being said, I'm going to give you a technique that I want you to focus on. So every screener, every time you run it, you're going to focus by that highest volume stock, and then what I want you to do is filter down to a manageable list of stocks that are in your price range, that are also the most liquid stocks. So for me, I'm not what I call a true penny stock guy. I like the stocks over $1. Though that being said, the OTCs, the true penny stocks, never been hotter, but we can also say that about kind of everything. So what I do is simple scans. This time of day, I'm going to run a scan for 50 million shares traded on the day. The stock price is greater than $1. I'm going to run that and I'm going to see what results I get. 20 results. Man, is that a usable, is that actionable? At 2 p.m. Eastern, do I have time to research every one of these stocks, go to my Evernote, write down the thesis, look at when the earnings dates are, look at the news? Do I really have time to do that and make a trade, in the next 2 hours and 13 minutes before the market close? Probably not really doable. So next step I'm going to do, I'm going to go from, 50 million to, let's say, 100 million. And see how many results I get, because I want to trade the most liquid, the most volatile, potentially volatile stocks of the day. And I'm just going to keep ratcheting this up until I get to a manageable number of stocks. So now you can see I ratcheted that up to that 100 million, 10 stocks. That to me is manageable. And I can look through here and I can see I've got, several weed stocks. TLRY is a weed stock. SNDL is a weed stock. I've got that CTRM, that most liquid stock of the day. And then I've also got ZOM. And so these are all repeat stocks that have been on my radar. And now I can research it and I can pick my favorite sectors and my favorite chart patterns. And that being said, TNXP, this has been a very, stock that has been quote unquote in play a lot. You can see it's above VWAP. It's trending into the afternoon. It's a biotech with some news. Traded 100 million shares. This is going to be top of my list. I'm actually probably going to skip the weed stocks because today was a massive pullback on all of the weed stocks. You can see TLRY is cratering. SNDL was the Wall Street bets play of the day that cratered this morning. Can't go red on the day. So now I'm going to filter out the weed stocks. Probably going to look at that TNXP. I'm going to look at that ZOM. I'm going to look at that NAKD. Or what I could do, the simplest play out of there is look at CTRM. We're at that 500 million shares that I talked about. It's above VWAP, and we're sitting at 52-week highs. Stock gapped up multiple days. Easy. Keep it simple. Former runner. You can see a year ago, back in March, this stock went from 90 cents to 270. Multiple green days, ridiculous volume. The recipe is there. And with one simple scan, the most liquid stock of the day. Now, I'm not saying every day it's going to be in play, but a lot of days, if you got a chart pattern like this on the most liquid stock with a former runner, that's your trade setup. So we'll see. Definitely check out. I'm recording on February 11th. So definitely, I would say we got 2 hours left in the trading day. Go back to February 11th, 2021, and let's see what CTRM did into the close. This is the setup. You buy that break, you risk off a VWAP, that VWAP-hold high day pattern that I love. So in closing, if you're on the pre-market prep every day at 8:30 Eastern, we have the drinking game, the coffee drinking game, by the way. Got to stay sharp trading these markets. But I say it every day. Every day it gets wilder. I started the pre-market prep in March of 2020, coming up on a year. And I believe out of, 220 trading days in a year, I think I said, I don't think it can get wilder 219 of those days. So drink your coffee. Subscribe to the channel. If you like these videos, check out the Steady Trade team. It's a mentorship program where Mike Huddy and I do twice daily webinars breaking down all the stocks of the day. You see our screens. We answer every question. I think it's the best way to learn this stuff. I would look forward to working with you in the Steady Trade team, or I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.